What up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and we got a lot to talk about because it looks like everybody's favorite white hip-hop critic, Anthony Fantano, is getting his back kicked in. You know, a lot of people have been feeling different ways about Anthony Fantano for a while, saying his takes are a little much or he just targets specific rappers and everything. But I've always thought he was pretty impartial with a lot of his stuff, and his takes have been pretty good. All his takes, except for this one.
Who infamously called Ian a nigger faggot, and now he just kind of quotes that to death.
Is it just me, or does he sound like he has a lot of practice saying those words? Now, to be fair, this soundbite is taken out of context. He's obviously quoting somebody else, but as somebody who's part of the culture, it's up to him to be smart enough to realize he shouldn't be using certain words regardless of context or not. He's not black, he's a guest here. If this was where it ended, I don't think I really would have cared very much, to be honest with you. I actually had to re-record this video because at first this is all that I saw. But then once I went on Twitter again and saw the other things that were resurfaced, I had to bring it up. Check it out here.
Dude. Fuck Trayvon. I was thinking Trey Melvin. Trey Melvin. I had a big thing with Trey Melvin.
Trayvon Martin.
It's all these fucking black names, dude. I get confused.
Whoa! Whoa!
These are the types of issues that stem from hip hop getting too big. There are a lot of people who love black art and love all sorts of black shit, but do not like black people and don't really respect us as a culture at all. And you can blame people like Drake and all that stuff, and there's plenty of realistic examples of that, but there's also another side to it as well that I've always noticed, which is the white guy who supposedly likes real hip hop. You know what I mean? And he gets to decide who's black and not black enough based on the fact that he listens to Pharoah Monch and, Far Side. And anybody who's not that isn't real hip hop. And if you don't listen to that, then you're not a real hip hop guy. And by hip hop, he means black.
He's trying to paint Drake as culturally being outside of the black experience in a way.
Kamala Harris was told that she's not black, and there was an outrage.
Sure.
It's confusing to me why there wasn't a similar response by, people like yourself, or like why what happened with Drake was treated differently.
Like whether or not I was outraged that was the case.
It's kind of messed up, right?
Well, I think those were happening in two far different contexts.
Well, like Drake's like black, right?
Yeah, I can't deny that.
So okay.
Look. Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's not faulty messaging. Objectively speaking, like Drake's dad is black. Drake is black. I think. And again, I'm just insinuating here based off what I hear on the song. I feel like for Kendrick, what he was trying to get across on the track, because when you literally talk about sort of like who he collabs with and where he goes to sort of like make these kind of cultural connections and sort of like align himself with certain segments of hip hop music. I think he's sort of displaying that as more of a cultural blackness.
I think it's a lot of guys our age that are white guys that were like really getting into it, and it felt a little weird.
That was one of my issues with Not Like Us. I'm not blaming Kendrick Lamar in any way, and I know what he means as Not Like Us because it's about being within the culture. You know what I mean? I understand his messaging. The only problem is certain fans and how they got to chant that back to another black man and dictate his blackness. If Not Like Us was just a diss track between black people, it'd still be wrong necessarily to dictate somebody's blackness, but it wouldn't be that bad. But when you have a concert full of white kids calling somebody a PDF, but also kind of suggesting that he's this like fake guy and all the undertones of it are fake blackness and you're not part of the culture. Meanwhile, these are literally people who are not part of the culture at all who now get to dictate what the culture is. While I understand that hip hop is an art form that can affect a lot of people and that the culture doesn't necessarily have a hard line with ethnicities, I do think certain people need to watch how they talk about black people because it is a black art form. And I've always felt that. I've always felt these like little dog whistles when it comes to like indie backpacker hip hop and the white dudes that are very, very much into it. I still love all of that stuff. I still listen to Slum Village. I still listen to Little Brother. You know, I'll put on Common right now. But this whole vibe of like, you're not really hip hop if you don't like that, has this weird, bizarre undertone when it comes from them. And I'm kind of glad that this whole Anthony Fantano thing is coming out so we can actually kind of discuss it, because this needs to be a conversation within the culture. But what do you think? Does Anthony Fantano have a right to talk about all this stuff? Is he entitled as a rap fan? Or do you think he's overstepping his boundaries a little bit? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you later. Peace.